Hello everyone, in today's video I'll be taking a look at this H4000 action camera. First up is the design, and it's pretty clearly just a knockoff of the SJ4000. Even all the button placements are the same. So you have the power button up front, you have your micro USB port and your SD card on the side, while the SJ4000 also has a micro HDMI port. The back has the screen and the notification light. On the side you have your up and down buttons. On the top you have your main shutter button and your other notification light. And the bottom, they use the same GoPro 3 style battery, hidden behind a battery door. I'll go through a basic tutorial, but the camera is pretty simple. To turn it on, you just tap the power button up front. Alright, so now you're in video mode by default. Pressing the power button once will change it to photo mode. Pressing it again will take it to your gallery, and one last time takes you back to video. Now to access your menu, you press the down button. I'm not going to show you the entire menu, I'm just going to skim through all the settings. This camera is locked to 30 frames per second, and you can only record in 480, 720, or 1080p. And to record a video, you just tap the OK button. And now we're actually recording. You can notice that the two notification lights are both flashing. This is the charging light, the one that's not lit. To stop is to just tap the OK button again, same as for photos. The bitrate for this camera is just way too high for no real reason. Now what does that mean in like practical terms, right? Alright, so I'm not going to do any cuts here. Right now, in HD mode, the camera can record for 2 hours and 37 minutes. Alright, whatever, right? But if I take the same SD card and put it into my SJ4000, you can see the same 720p 30 mode gets me 10 hours, almost 11 hours of video. Something interesting I found was that the bad bitrate was pretty much only for HD video. You can see if I switch to full HD, it's 5 hours and 11 minutes of recording compared to like the 2 hours it was before. So here is a sample video from this camera. Now I'll just let this play out and then I'll go more in depth about the problems I have with this camera. The first problem I have is resolution. This is supposed to be a 1080p image, and it just looks like 480p to me. If I take a 2x zoom in, you can see that there's just not much detail in anything.
Kind of what they do.
The next problem I have with this camera is that there's no video stabilization. I feel like every action camera should have at least some kind of video stabilization, because otherwise, like even walking would look pretty bad. This camera does not like looking into the sun at all. You can see that there's massive lens flare here, and when looking at the sun, there's a black dot and a weird line of vertical pixels. In this butterfly clip, you can see how dynamic range isn't that good either. It was a partly cloudy day, but when you look at the sky, it's completely blown out. There's no detail, there's no color at all. Again, this is a sunny day, but the mountain and the sky have just been completely blown out in the background. Trying to film a sunset is a complete waste of time, because the camera can't process that information. This camera crunches the color black really badly. Basically, anything that's darker colored has pretty much no detail. It's really easy to notice when looking at the shadows or any darker parts of the image. Unsurprisingly, this leads to a really bad low-light performance. Anything that isn't really directly lit is pretty much invisible to this camera. This picture is pretty accurate to what I can see here, but through this camera, it can only see pretty much the direct lights. So here's an audio test of the H4000's microphone. How do I sound? 1, 2, 3, 4. The microphone here is just decent, but in high wind situations, it can even drown out your audio. Pardon my language, by the way.
Shit, there's strong ass winds up here. I'm getting dragged.
So here's this H4000 compared to the SQ12. Now the SQ12 has a bigger field of view, but the colors are more accurate on the H4000. When zooming in, you can see that they're both pretty much the same level of detail. I also decided to compare this H4000 to my SJ4000. If you've made it this far, you may think that this camera is absolute trash, but this one feature caused me from throwing this camera away to actually keeping it, and it's the battery life. I was able to get 3 hours and 20 minutes of continuous video recording on one charge. Now that is absolutely ridiculous. So overall, would I recommend this camera? Well, no. It's not that good of a video camera, but as like a secondary camera that's just recording in the background while you do your main recording on your primary camera, something like the SJ4000, then this camera actually isn't that bad. As usual, I hope you found this video helpful, and I hope you have a great day.